Hey, Jason Rice here, another lot party quick tip. And I wanted to go over this. I just seen somebody post on a group that I'm on wanting to know what's a good closing percentage and response time and appointment ratios and everything with internet leads. They wanting to rehash their internet department. And just over the last couple of years, as we're helping dealerships track inventory and internet process management, we started exposing a lot of things that opened my eyes. And again, to give you some background to this, I started selling cars off the internet in 1997 to 2005 and helped dealers ever since on internet process management. And when I came across, so that was 20 something years ago. And when I came across the stuff that I'm going to show you now, it blew my mind. Like, how did I never think about this before? And I shared this at Driving Sales. I'm just going to share the used car portion of it right now. I have another set that I'll show when it comes about new cars. And so I presented this at Driving Sales, talking about how inventory, your CRM, and the big gap of data, why closing percentage might not matter as much. Let me get through this PowerPoint to show you what I'm talking about. And let me try this the first time I'm actually, there we go. Okay. So why isn't your closing percentage an accurate metric for performance? As we help dealers get better with marketing their used cars, their closing percentage went down. It was totally opposite. I thought for sure that as we got dealers better with used car operations, as we started driving more leads, their used car closing percentage would go up. So when we started doing this, again, we get dealers, man, you know, that thing's going good. We're selling a lot of cars, but man, our closing percentage sucks. And I'm like, well, what do you do? You know, I'm thinking they're not probably calling and emailing enough with the leads, which happens more times than not. But when I started looking at the data, I went, oh, crap. So here's what it is. Just a couple examples of what I mean by, I want you to understand lead increase. No matter what you do, I put a lot of tips on used car management and stuff, but basically if you get better with your marketing and which includes pricing and stuff, you can generate more leads. This is an example of a dealer with Car Gurus leads. You can see from April of 2018 on the far left, a year's worth of data, how many calls, emails they're getting versus starting in March when we start focusing on getting better marketing on their used cars. So you see this big spike here. You see this is cars.com, again, starting in March, big spike in lead count. And then you go into that was cars.com. This is Auto Trader, again, April, May, June, July, good spike in activity. And what is happening is dealers got better used car marketing. They got better in their comments. We got better with photos and photo presentation, what order they're in. I think really matters, helps increase lead count, more aggressive in pricing, SRPs, VDPs increased, again, more leads, but yet closing percentage went down. So here is a dumbed down version of why this happens, okay? Again, this is just simple mathematics stuff that I'm going to show you here. It's a little bit more complex, but I needed to prove a point. So before the dealer, remember when the Car Gurus leads were steady for like a year, they're just doing an average job at inventory management and marketing. You could see here, they get 100 active leads, or let's say they have 100 active leads. You get maybe a couple cars might get 1 or 2 leads on the car. So 20% of those active leads were on cars that were sold. So really that only left about 80 leads that were workable, that I can actually still sell them the car they're interested in. If you take an industry standard of like a 10% closing percentage to the 80 that I now can sell them a car, that's 8 sold. Well, your CRM is going to take that 8 sold compared to the 100 leads that you have, and it puts it at an 8% closing percentage. Make sense? Pretty simple. Now, again, remember March, April, May, June, we get a big spike in leads, big spike in activity. And what was happening is instead of getting 1 or 2 or 3 leads per car, they're starting to get 4, 5, 6, 7 leads per car. Not per car, but on cars. So we start looking at, okay, let's look at the 100 active leads. And all of a sudden, man, 40% of their active leads are on cars that are already sold. Because we get 5 leads on a car, I sell it to one of those customers or maybe a floor pop. Now I got 4 or 5 active leads floating out there in a car. I can't no longer sell them. So that leaves 60 workable leads. You take your 10% closing percentage. That means you only could sell 6 cars. Your CRM is going to take your 6 cars compared to the 100 leads, and now you got a 6% closing percentage. And then when I realized this, I went, holy crap, you know. Now, if our process is, so it doesn't matter, think of it, you know, when our closing percentage goes down, half the times we're yelling at our people not doing enough calls and emails, or we're wanting to cancel some lead providers that we're not seeing results. And in reality, when you look at it this way, it's not necessarily either one of them's fault. It's actually a good thing, but you just got to handle those leads in a different manner. So here's one example, and this is, you can see this from August, but what you're looking at here, 2 things I circled. The left circle is a 60-day lead count, and then a month-to-date lead count. And well, it's not a lead count. These are active leads where vehicle interest has been sold. So in 60 days, they had 137 still active leads on cars that already been sold, which is 56% of their leads. If you got a 60-day follow-up process, 56% of those leads are already cars that already sold. My last example to you, that little 100 chart there, I only did 40%. This guy's at 56. So he only had 44% of active leads he could still sell. That means only 4 or 5 cars he could sell, and his closing percentage drops to 5%. Month to date, 34% of his current active leads month to date were on cars already sold. I don't know the date or how deep in the month we're at. So again, take these customers, look at the 06 Chevy Trailblazer. That's going to be a hard car to duplicate to say, hey, I got others to match. And go a little further down, there's a 2017 Silverado. To the right of that, you can see, I don't know if you notice, and I don't know if you see my arrow or not, but we got 2 other Silverados in stock that we might be able to put this customer on. So depending on the car, you should be able, they got to buy something different anyways. If it was their color that they like, but that color sold, then, you know, they're going to have to buy something else, different miles, what have you. So why not from you? Put them down a different sales funnel, put them down a active leads sold unit. And then in that process, maybe have automated email or email them something like in the subject line, the 2017 Silverado sold, now what? And then in the email, ask them, hey, you know, we price our cars competitively market. They sell pretty quick. I'm sorry, this one sold before you got a chance, but obviously you got to buy something else. Is it just this make and model, features that you're looking for, price range, so I can help you find that next vehicle for you. Put them down a different funnel, spread out the phone calls, because again, these aren't as good as quality leads, but definitely you can hit them up as much as you want. Obviously the more the better, but I would, you know, obviously you want to work on customers they have in stock. So here's another example, and I'm gonna go real quick here because I want to wrap this up in about a minute or 2. This is the dealership's inventory levels. So down toward the bottom, you're gonna see 0 to 15 day old cars. 57% of his used car dollars are on 0 to 15 day old cars. Only 4% of his active leads are on those cars. So go to that red area that I circled. 46 to 60 day old cars, only 5% of his inventory sitting there. 11% of his active leads are on these cars. Look at the bottom though. 61 plus his age cars at 13%. 74% of this guy's active leads are on these cars. Okay, these cars are going to sell, and we're going to have so many active leads on cars that sold. So imagine this. There's certain lead providers that do good, great, and fair. You know, all these great deals are right here. So I'm going to get a ton of leads from certain lead providers because they're on great deals, but they're going to sell. 1, I'm not going to make any money because these cars have very little markup on them. But 2, my internet people are going to be chasing these leads, right? And spending time on the low-hanging fruit and not paying attention to a customer that submitted a lead on a car that's priced at or above market. So this is a very crucial thing when you talk about closing percentage. Our internet people are so tied up. There's 85% of their leads on these age cars where there's no money. These customers are going to chase you down wanting to buy that car at 85%. In the meantime, we got a lead. I'm looking at some dealers. They got leads on cars at 103% of the market. Why does a customer submit a lead on a car it's 103% of market that's fresh? It's because it's colors and miles and equipment that the customer's interested in. But yet we're too busy chasing these low-hanging fruits that we're not going to make any grosses on. And our closing percentage is going to go out of whack because we got a bunch of leads on cars that sold. So this is huge metrics. You guys need to understand that the closing percentage may not matter. You don't be chasing it as much if you understand these metrics. Hope this was helpful. If you want more info, lotpop.com, jrice, lotpop.com, or shoot me a message. Thanks. Bye.